Were you alone for some or all of the holidays, like Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day? Or did you have so much socializing that your nervous system flipped a breaker in the electrical box of your brain? Either way, there are lessons to learn. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos Interfaith Center, where we know that solitude can be frightening or calming, just as socializing can be enriching or overwhelming. Now, more and more, I see and hear holiday planning, including people for whom December is a heavy emotional bag of hurts and losses and history, and not so much about celebrating togetherness with safe people. Safe people. Let's unpack that phrase for a minute. Emotional safety is a critical piece of the pie when we choose to be with others. If someone has hurt us deeply with no healing on the horizon, we may not feel safe in their presence. Our conversation will be guarded, our thoughts racing, and we may be feeling unfairly judged. This is not the place to let down our guard and allow our authentic selves to, to enjoy the dinner or the day or the social atmosphere. And so we may avoid totally. More intimately, to be in relationship with one special person, we must feel safe. Women know this because of our training. Get your antenna up if a man is following you down the sidewalk. Don't get into an elevator with only one man in it. Keep your keys handy. Don't park in a dark section of the parking lot. We have been trained for our whole lives to make physical safety number one in the culture. And now we're learning about emotional safety. The learning curve is steep for some of us, while others are finally exhaling and saying, it's about time. There are very real neurological reasons why some people find being alone so much more comfortable than being with others. Having said that, we know that humans are social animals and we need one another. And there's the rub, finding just the right balance between solitude and togetherness. Because even with safe people, togetherness has its limits. Solitude offers us a stillness in comparison to the noise of being with others. Even if the others are silently reading in the next room, there's a frequency in the air that reminds us that they're there. Can you recognize when you are out of balance between being the social animal that you innately are and the solitude that you need? And when you recognize the imbalance, do you have a plan to rectify it? Spending time each day in solitude is very good for our nervous systems. But after getting everyone out the door in the morning and working a full day at a job, making dinner, folding the laundry, remembering to stop for gas, dance lessons, soccer practice, the hockey game, and getting the stains out of the Little League uniform, there is barely time for the minimum self care of a shower. So, where is the solitude going to fit in? Well, that's for each of us to figure out and to create in our lives, to take charge of it. This reminds me of a saying that some celebrity somewhere in my life mentioned, and it stuck with me. You can have it all, but not all at the same time. I have found that to be very true. We can have a career, a full time partner, a family, a vacation home, a trip to Spain, another degree, but piling on too much all at once creates the exhaustion. Where is that solitude? Funny enough, maybe it's in the bathroom. Brush your teeth with intention, feeling every nuance of your mouth instead of being mentally somewhere else. Give that a try. One of my dear friends tells me her best ideas come to her in the shower. Solitude, no phone. Please don't take your phone into the shower. And peace of mind as we find the water creating this physical space apart from the rest of the house. Maybe your solitude will be while you wait in your car during your daughter's piano lesson. If you look for it, you'll find it or create it. I pause to recommend a book by May Sarton, an American author of the 20th century. It's called Journal of a Solitude, and it tells of her complicated relationship between being alone and being with others during a year in her life where she chose to live rather isolated in a New Hampshire house. It's not a new book, but well worth a visit. Our world is so very noisy, or it can be. Now, I choose to live without a television, and so do not have the urge to have constant companionship of the sound of voices chattering, except for the barking of Charlotte the dachshund when someone nears our property, or the sound of my own music making. I am intentional about the other sounds that I invite into my environment. Yes, I watch Netflix or Hulu, and I love YouTube reruns of the Golden Girls, but I choose carefully so as to not disrupt my peace. The world is noisy, and finding a quiet space for our own peace may be tricky, but it is necessary for our well being. I'm not suggesting that we always seek a silent space, for that's nearly impossible to attain, but something on the order of a much less distracting space for a little bit each day. Physics teaches us that everything about us is vibrating. And if that is so, then everything is making some sort of sound, for that's the very definition of sound, vibration that moves the air around the vibrating item. We humans cannot hear much of what is going on around us with our ears. As a person with great auditory acuity hears only between 20 and 20,000 hertz. Much of our daily pitches lie between 2,000 and 5,000 hertz. But a lot is going on in our world that our ears cannot hear. That doesn't mean our cells don't feel it. The vibrations can be picked up by our bodies in other ways. So when we're looking for that quiet space to be in solitude, perhaps we should not be moving too much. Going for a walk in solitude is a very different experience from sitting still in solitude. Both have enormous value, but for the quiet part, I like the stillness. Meditation for some of us offers this solitude. There's a Zen proverb that says you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day, unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. As soon as we find ourselves saying there isn't time in a day to be in solitude, we should see that as a sign that we are indeed too busy doing things that may not support the best version of ourselves. When I encounter a person whose invitation to join a choir or an activity that I'm involved in is met with the comment, "Oh, I'm too busy," I say a silent prayer that I hope all the things that you are busy doing support who you want to be. Sometimes it takes the emptiness of silence and solitude to allow ourselves to envision what that means. Who do I want to be? How do I want to live so that I have few regrets on my deathbed? For those of us who believe in a judgment day, what do I want on my spiritual resume that day? Because tomorrow is another day. Thank you, Scarlett O'Hara. We can always begin anew. We have a second chance every day. If you find yourself with too much alone time that feels sad or frightening, choose an activity that you'd like to be part of and start sending those intentions and vibrations into the universe by talking about the activity with everyone you meet. In the same light, express gratitude several times a day, not unlike praying several times a day. Gratitude for times When you have interactions that are meaningful, gratitude goes a long way into creating the life that we want. If you find yourself with not enough time alone, start really small. Set the timer on your phone for 2 minutes and sit somewhere quietly, close your eyes, and just breathe. Just let yourself be for those 2 minutes. Strapping yourself with big expectations might defeat those 2 minutes. So just sit and expect nothing to happen. May we all create lives that support us, sustain us, and give us joy. Blessings on all.